Hello, welcome back to the Mr. Arsenal podcast for the first reviews, basically, of the season. As you can see, I'm joined by Rohan and Steve again. Only 24 hours, guys. How are we still feeling?
Well, what can I say?
Yeah, sorry, Steve, you were going to say.
No, I was just saying it's been an interesting day on Twitter, isn't it? Lots of opinions flying around.
Oh, it's just a few. Just a few.
Just a few.
We're all medics, apparently, as well. We all know the ins and outs of an injury or illness.
Well, yeah. There's a lot of conjecture and sort of opinion on what's going on, isn't there, really?
Yeah. Oh, dear. It's only match day one. As it stands, we're fourth from bottom by alphabetical order.
Yeah, we could have been top last night, and now we're bottom, and now we're fourth from bottom, so it's an improvement already.
Just a process.
Just a process.
I mean, Rohan, what about yourself? Again, it's only been not even 24 hours yet since the full-time whistle went, but has it sunk in yet that things haven't improved from last year, or maybe even worse than we thought?
Just when you think it cannot get harder supporting this club after the years after Wenger left, it's getting harder every match. I mean, we had so much ambition for this after when the window started, as you said on the last time on the podcast, that you knew that Koranke is not going to put us any money in there, and that has again happened. And it's again happening, we are going to say sign one or two players to uh, calm the fans for now. Say Martin Odegaard is coming maybe. So it's not going to be another good season. I think the prediction that we had last time, we made. I think I had for 6 Arsenal, something Steve had for 6 also. So I don't think it's going to be 6th again. It's going to be another hard one. And I could see Arteta getting sacked if the things don't improve.
Keep thinking it can't get any. I keep thinking it can't get any worse, and then it does.
And it does. So I'll take the heater. So guys, hold my beer.
They can't play as bad as that again, and they do.
It was just, I mean, what frustrating was, I said it in the stream I did last night during the game, it was like, the frustrating thing is that, yeah, we had all the ball, we did nothing with the ball, let's be honest, going forward, but the goals they scored were because we gave it to them. The first goal was defensive lab in judgment from James and Ben White both being caught on the hot heels, basically, and then I can't save a shot his near post, apparently, no matter how close he is to the post, basically. That pisses me off. And then the second goal is literally like watching Stoke versus Arsenal back in 2008, 2009, when they just got the ball and just threw it, and we just all whipped the crap. And
well, I mean, Ben White sort of watched the ball bounce over his head, didn't he? I mean,
they all...
and it's just like, what? But, yeah, Bolton, Leeds, all these teams have just bung it in the box with a score. That's the thing, isn't it?
And I think it was Paul Merson today was on Sky today, one of the pundits of Soccer Saturday or whatever, and he's like, this ain't the days of when we had the big tall players in our midfield and defence of Tony Adams, Patrick Vieira, Steve Bold, Martin Keown. I mean, Ben White's not the tallest of defenders as it is, and we ain't got tall defenders. I tell you, wants to play this ball to feet football out from the back. But we're playing. The whole tactic was last night counter attack, and he says that's not Arsenal. That's not the Arsenal we've come to accustomed to over 2-3 decades. Even under George Graham, there's more of a better setup in this.
I think defenders. I mean, you get defenders to defend, surely. That's where you start. You start off with
that's how I've been brought up.
Yeah, so I mean, all right, they're great going forward, but ultimately their prime directive is to defend well. Not give the ball away. Defend the 6-yard box. Head the ball when it comes across. Our guys very rarely get on the end of a cross in our box first. And then it becomes pinball, isn't it? And attacking teams tend to overload us now. I mean, how that wasn't a free kick though, when the guy was holding Leno on the goal line. I mean, got to be a free kick, surely. Anywhere else, that's a free kick.
Well, not just that. Early in the first half, Balogun gets hacked in the penalty box. Basically,
Yeah.
the defender does it. The defender has no intention of the ball. The ball's already gone. The defender goes to Balogun. That's clear and obvious. But apparently, it's not a penalty. That's not going to be a penalty this year. Then what is a penalty then? What's going to be given? We've seen penalties given today. Apparently, I want to see them later on a match of the day because that's a foul. There was no attempt to get the ball. I mean, we saw last year, David Luiz against Wolves got a straight red because his knee scraped the attacker's boot studs. Because he didn't attempt to get the ball, so it's a straight red. But this time it's nothing.
Well, that happened today in the Man United game. I can't remember who it was, but the Leeds player was going forward and he just clipped the defender. He went down, goal kick. Last year that was a red and a penalty. So, it's going to change big time, isn't it? Maybe we'll get some more goals this season because of that. But,
hope you're not against us though.
No.
which is my fear, and this is the thing. I mean, I was saying in the previous podcasts prior to the Premier League prediction we did the last one. But one thing that scared me going into the season was watching the games because of how it is nowadays. You see everything now. We see all the games now. It didn't seem like Arteta. It was like watching Arsenal from last season. Arteta was refusing to learn from his mistakes. He was making the same thing, same calls every time. I mean, what really hacks me off at 1-0 down, he gave Martinelli 5 minutes to strike and then hacked him off. And then left. He tried basically trying to play a false nine between Saka, Reece Nelson, and Pepe.
Yeah. Was there a stat I heard yesterday about something that we haven't won a game from being behind at half time, 16 games or something?
It's now 15. It's now 15 games now.
Yeah,
we've gone beyond at half time.
Behind at half time, and we've not picked up a point. That's crazy. And we have again. I said the other week, we don't score enough goals, but again, we didn't score.
Yeah.
I mean, never looked like scoring really, apart from the FA chance late on with keeper pulls off a really good save. But it's pointless Tierney bombing down the ring, crossing the ball because we'd never get anybody in the end of it.
No, because the players in the box that don't get in the position they need to be in. They all coming together instead of being a bit stretch the defence a bit and put defence on their feet. I mean, the Congo had a shot, but it was on target. It wasn't the hardest of shots, let's be honest. But I mean, I don't get why Granit was the captain again. I know Aubameyang's he's ill or whatever, and Lacazette weren't playing. But there's other. He could have given it to Tierney or someone else. Of all people, the fan base are split with Granit. Don't give it to him. And for me, he didn't do anything to enamour me. Just taking that equation to Arsenal in that match alone, there's a clear difference in the performance from last night to what we saw in the Euros.
Yeah,
definitely.
And yet we're giving this man a new contract.
I mean, to be fair, that was no way that was Arteta's starting lineup when he finished training.
No, of course not. No.
Thursday. So, throwing Balogun and Martinelli to start the game was a risk because, Martinelli's just come back from the Olympics. He's probably not 100% match fit for the Premier League. Balogun's first start, that didn't help at all.
No.
And obviously Saka was obviously came on, but again, he's not 100% yet either. And obviously Partey would have played, Gabriel would have played. So you've got probably 4 or 5 players that would have played if available. But having said that, Brentford were their cup final, wasn't it? They were all over that.
Yeah.
They were winning that game no matter what, and we sort of
let them. Yeah. I mean, I'm not having a go at either. I mean, out of all the experienced players, the ones that we know of that they're definitely playing all that, Tilly's the only one that actually he could hold his head up high. He was our main attacking threat at one point. He attacked more than anyone else that entire 90 minutes. And I'm seeing clips of other channels slagging him off because when the goal went in, I'm like, hang on, he was in the position he was told to be in, which he was doing the right thing at the right time. It's not his fault. The rest of the team just all watched the ball. And he's having to recover and then try and mark out 2 men on him.
Yeah, again, doesn't it? That happens time
Yeah.
and time again, game after game. Sometimes we manage to somehow get away with it, but
I mean,
that situation happens, and it will happen because teams aren't stupid. They'll just do that all the time.
Yeah. I mean, what was it? The player that scored the second goal last night was on Sky saying literally, we didn't fear Arsenal. Basically, we didn't fear Arsenal. We knew we were 11v11. We had a chance, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the thing. If they'd been given Liverpool or City or United or Chelsea, that would have been a completely different story for them. They would have actually felt a bit of, not a bit of pressure, but a bit of fear in them because obviously the stature that they would have done recently. Whereas we have just, well, we've seen today, Leeds got torn to pieces in the end. And
yeah, but Man United stepped up a gear, didn't they? They conceded the goals and they just went into another gear, didn't they?
And this is the thing with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, that no matter what we say about him, he's implemented the philosophy and a style that is getting results and getting the fans back on board and making everyone go in the right direction, if that makes sense.
Well, I think there's an element of teams quite happy for us to have the ball because they don't feel threatened.
Yeah.
They know they're going to get chances on the break or set pieces. So, we had 70% possession when they scored.
Yeah, it was literally like nearly 80%, and both times.
Yeah,
but it's like you said, it seems like happening. That has to be a massive warning signal, a massive red flag, not just the director of football, Edu, but the rest of the club, that we are so easy to play against. The whole point of when Arteta was hired, the whole PR was that he was going to change the way we were going and to play more attacking brand of football that we become accustomed to. There'll be none of this. Non-negotiables. You got to want to be here. This, that, and the other. Hector Bellerin, even though he didn't play last night, doesn't want to be here. Xhaka doesn't want to be here. Xhaka's on the pitch with the armband. Bellerin's on the bench. El Neni is on the bench. I mean, people go, well, he did, whatever's gone on. Lacazette and Aubameyang were ill. It's more to that. The fact that the ones at the Arsenal media, media working in Arsenal this morning are breaking their neck to come out and say, yeah, they probably won't be playing next week. There's more to it than just an illness, I believe. But I don't know. And then you're getting reports from Sky saying that we're trying to sell Aubameyang along with Lacazette. It's like, well, what is it? Because you've got we're going to sell pretty much half our squad and get two players in basically in the last couple of weeks now. Why wasn't this? If that was the idea, why wasn't this all put in place at the start of the summer before the season? So we're not. Why is it we're not ready? Hook by crook, whatever way you look at it, we're not ready.
Yeah.
Yet again,
you're bringing on someone like, no disrespect to Reece Nelson, but he was nowhere near the team last season.
No.
Like, it's who we got available to bring on. I know William wasn't, in the squad, but we're limited in what we can do now, aren't we? And then, if we get any more injuries, are they going to be well for next weekend?
Well, exactly. And talking of Reece Nelson, I mean, when he broke through, obviously he broke through a year or two ahead of Saka and Smith Rowe. Since he's obviously gone off to Hoffenheim and come back, they've broke through and they're leagues ahead of him now. And yet he's come on last night, and as you said, because of whatever's happened and this, that, and the other, that bench scared me before the kickoff because it was just so uninspiring. We had like three or four of the players on the bench could play right back. I know obviously Ainsley is a centre midfielder who wants to be, but he was on the bench. We know Arteta was playing at right back. We had Hector, we had Cedric, and there's was it Letterman de Congo on the left back. And I think, did he come on at some point? I can't remember who he came on for as well.
Tavares came on and played right back.
Yeah. As I said, literally, I was saying three had played before him that could play right back.
And you were behind, and you were taking strikers off and bringing on defensive midfield players, or you 2-0 down, you might as well left Balogun and Martinelli on and brought on recent, just attack. But
bring on the Saka still, bring on Reece and all that, but make the sacrifice of a defensive player.
Yeah, take Xhaka off. I mean, I thought Lokonga played well. I think he had some good skills in the game.
out
You know,
of that pivot that started, the Conga for his debut as well was the better
Yeah.
player,
yeah, absolutely.
and you noticed him
thought-
more.
You certainly noticed one. I thought Smith Rowe played really well, but again, you know, it's just getting that end product, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
Is that,
Pepe-
is that
He had a great chance there. Like
Is it?
the shot straight to the keeper.
Yeah.
There he had a good game. Like he didn't provide those chances. He was giving it to Pepe. And then Pepe I don't understand why does he not work on his right foot? Because if he's not going to work on his right foot, then Saka is gonna take that right wing position anyway. Because Pepe's left foot is so like he thinks it's the greatest for left foot there, and he always wants to come back. And I don't know why does he not want to dribble past defenders? Like he was always cutting back and trying to pass it either to Sambi or to someone in the box, but it was not working because there were always two players on him. And Pepe's right foot is just the problem that he's not going to. I don't think he's gonna make it as a right winger in the Premier League because without his right foot, he's not getting past, dribbling past the players, which Saka is obviously able to do that. And like Arteta got Saka on for Balogun. At that time, I'd gotten Saka for Chambers and put Saka at a right back, and so that Pepe had a better right back, as people are saying that over the last 2 seasons he does not have a competent right back on that position. I don't understand what that is. Saka does not have a competent right back on this when he was playing as a right winger, and he has played so well. So, like, people need to stop backing Pepe when he's not working well. This season, he does not even have Europa League to score goals and satisfy the fans that his end product is improving. So, for the Chelsea game, like, I don't know. Also, the main thing is what has happened to our defenders' headability. Holding can't, with his so height, cannot head a ball. So is Pablo Mari, and we all know White is not taller than he can head a ball, and obviously Lukaku against White is gonna look really terrifying to me next week.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Pepe's too easy to defend against, is he? Because he can only go one way. You know, he won't drive into the box. He won't beat a man and drive into the box and chip it with his right foot, will he? He'll just continually beat the man, cut back, beat him again, cut back, and then it's just
lose the ball.
The difference with him and Tierney on the other side is Tierney's got one thing in his mind, isn't he? He just gets the ball. He's looking to run and cross. You know, he's not worried about cutting back and trying to go with his right. If Pepe is going to be successful, he's got to be able to play with his right foot. Because then it's the element of surprise. They're not expecting him to play with his right foot. But I don't know. I mean, it's just a bit of a mess again, really. Just Chambers is suddenly our first choice right back, and yet he couldn't get in the side last year. And we've got Cedric and Bellerin, two specialist right backs, and you end up playing Tavares as right back, who's a left back. It's just what's the process? What's the thinking behind that?
Well, this is a fair mention it last night. I mean, what Sky did one fan of each club into their where they do their filming, and they're like Gary Neville, Roy Keane, and Carragher as the panel. And at one point, Gary Neville asks, "Was it that tie from AFTV?" Because he was in the fucking ground going off on one, as always. Can you tell me basically what is the plan? What is the philosophy behind about the club? Basically the process, because he admits after Ferguson left, up till Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came in, he saw similar things at Man United. At least he says, at least if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer may not be world class manager, this, that, and the other, but in terms of the transfer, the recruitment, the way they play, there's a plan there. There's a philosophy there. We don't see anything like that. Again, the worrying thing is, it's 18 months down the line. He's been in the job over 18 months now. Well over 18 months, actually, thinking about it. We don't see no style of play. There's no... Again, every time we attack, we're toothless. And look at the players we have. We've mentioned Pepe, Aubameyang, Lacazette on their day when before this lockdown and obviously last season, they were scoring goals for fun. They were hard to defend against. Now there's just we get to a certain point. I mean, Smith again, he's 20 years old, but he can only do so much.
Mm.
And if players ahead of him aren't making the runs or stretching the defence or whatever, or finishing what he gives them, what else can he do other than get the ball and just shoot himself? Because otherwise, he's not getting nowhere near the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just we just don't score enough goals. End of, and even when Lacazette when was the last time Aubameyang scored? I can't remember.
Fucking that's the point actually.
When I mean, you think, what else does Aubameyang give you other than scoring goals? Not a lot. So if you're not scoring goals, then being a captain again is not great. And what can change for the next game? What can actually change for the next game that's going to make us more solid? I can't see anything really. I mean, we're not really looking at any major players. We can't get rid of the players we want to get rid of. Nobody wants the players we want to get rid of, do they? So
that's the thing. There, that's the thing. That they're either too much wages or they're just too crap. I mean, what was it? Paul Merson even said earlier. If you've asked Thomas Frank, the Brentford manager last night, going into next week's game against Palace, who do you want from the Arsenal team to help you? And I asked, and he said, "No, I'll stick with what he'll probably say. I'll stick with what I've got. Thank you, with the Brentford players because." And that says it all. I mean, we can't. I mean, Kolasinac is on this. He's here. I don't know why.
We've got to pay him off on his contract, haven't we? At the moment,
as it stands, yeah, because no one else wants him.
So we're now paying players to leave.
Well, basically, what we did in Jamie, basically paid Ozil to leave. That's another thing. That's the weird thing. But going back to that, we paid him to leave and then continued to pay his wages at another club. For the last 6 months.
Who's going to buy Aubameyang? If we decide we want to get rid of Aubameyang and he's on $300 a week, who's going to want to buy him?
Barcelona can't afford. And Madrid, obviously, they're going into debt, so they can't afford. The only teams that really could, that won't, would be a sort of a Bayern Munich sort of type team. But they don't need that Aubameyang.
No.
Because they've got the Lewandowski, they're looking at Haaland. PSG have got Messi, Neymar, and bloody Mbappe for crying out loud.
So there's no money in Europe to buy someone like Aubameyang.
No.
So again, you've got another player that nobody wants.
The rumours are we're trying to beg Roma to take Lacazette so we can Tammy Abraham in or the guy from Inter Milan.
Yeah.
And that's been made difficult apparently. I mean, Madison today has gone down injured apparently in the Leicester game as well, so that's fun. We're looking at Odegaard. We're not being aggressive enough to do it. We do need another central midfielder, another part of that pivot, just in case obviously injuries and as we've seen with Partey. But if Partey comes back, you know what? If we have a fully fit squad, I would have Partey and Okanga next to each other because
absolutely,
that would excite me. That would be a midfield pivot that would excite me. I mean, Partey and Xhaka doesn't work. Partey and Elneny doesn't work. Xhaka and Elneny doesn't work. Xhaka and Okanga. No fault with Okanga, by the way. It doesn't work. There's a contributing factor here. Xhaka and Elneny, they don't work. If we want to progress as a club, it's like they keep telling us they want to go back to being competitive. You have to, like people are saying in the chat, be ruthless, cut ties, do what you've got to do to get rid. Stop hanging on, trying to milk. If you think a player's worth 25 mil or whatever, have a club like Roma saying no, it's 15 plus add-ons. Take it. That's probably what he's worth because of how bad they've been. The guy has been at Arsenal, for example, 5 years. What's the one contributing factor that every time he plays, our midfield is not just him, obviously Elneny, is weak. We get the ball, he slows the tempo of the game. We want to play fast, attractive football. He gets the ball, it slows it down. He gets the ball, stops for 10 seconds, looks around, loses the ball, or passes it, but just that allows the opposition to get back in position. Basically, it's not beneficial to what we need and what we want. At least, I mean, again, I was at the Chelsea game the other week, the pre-season friendly with Partey. Before he went off injured, he got the ball. He just ran with it. He went forward. He didn't give the team, the opposition, a chance to take a breather and get back in position. He got the ball and just went at their defence.
Mm. Yeah, well, that's what Lokonga was doing it when he had the chance. He was getting the ball. His first instinct was to move forward. He wasn't playing it straight back, giving it straight back to the defence. He was getting the ball and moving forward, and that's what you want. You want players to move forward. And as you say, when we break, it's almost like we're playing walking football, isn't it? Because we're sort of getting the ball, we're running, we go to the halfway line, then we start to look around and let everybody catch up, and then with sideways pass, and because there's nobody running ahead, so we have to come back all the time. And by then, the defending team have got their players back and are ready to stop us going forward, and that's all the time.
I mean, Gary in the chat's also said Arteta said he would maximise the players he has. Fucking hell, that's gonna be difficult then. I don't believe he knows how, or if so, what did he do for the last 18 months then? Exactly. I mean, he's on borrowed time now because of that.
He hasn't got the experience to know what to do, has he?
No, that was always the fear factor when he got hired.
So, the next two games, Chelsea and City, we could be sitting here in 2 weeks' time with 0 points.
Nil points on him, and he could be on the verge of being given a boot going into the Norwich game, because I think it's international break after Man City, isn't it? I think.
I think there's 3 or 4 games. I think we play Norwich then international before Norwich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we come away with no points out of 9. And considering one of them teams was Brentford, which is a team again we should be, with all due respect, we should be going toe to toe and beating them, be it home or away. Let's be honest. The sort of stature of a couple we are. He's on borrowed time already. I mean, last night's result has upped the ante, as we've all seen on social media. As I was saying at the start of the stream, it's been an absolute free-fall for the last 19, 20 hours. Everyone
wants to support the club, without a doubt, but
but he's making it hard.
They're making it hard, definitely.
Mark in the chat saying as well, we have money. The LA Rams brought LA Rams Conky brought 750 mil. Now they are worth 4 billion. Exactly. Oh dear! But the thing is, the reason they're worth it.
But you've got to have the players available to spend the money, haven't you? And who out there is available that we could bring in that's going to solve our goal scoring crisis?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's not just who is out there, but who would want to come to a club that's in a free fall at the moment. It looks at from the outside looking in at a free fall. But it's going nowhere but backwards.
Our level is looking at Tammy Abraham, isn't it? That's our level at the moment.
Oh, another Arsenal fan! Yay!
He's leaving. I think it's almost confirmed he's going to Roma. They are getting closer.
What we're hearing in the UK is that the fee has been agreed between the two clubs and all that, but he doesn't want to go there. He's refusing to go. He wants Arsenal to step up and keep him in the Premier League and keep him in London, because he's used the fact that there's interest to prolong it. And basically, Roma have said it has to. They want it done by the end of the weekend. If it's not done by the end of the weekend, they'll move on, because they need to obviously replace Edin Dzeko now, who's gone to Inter.
But maybe that's part of
I don't see us playing 35.
Triangle, isn't it? Right.
So
I don't see us spending 35 million on him, either with a loan with the obligation to buy or direct transfer. I don't see us.
We'll probably do it what we've done with the Pepe deal in instalments, like 25. Well, that with Pepe is like 25 mil every year, isn't it? Why it's here and all that crap. So we'll probably do that with fucking. We're probably doing it with everyone else, but it's not just, as you said, it's not just about having the money. It's about not just, and then also looking and recruiting the right players. It's having the right people in place to get the right players in, and we're seeing it that we haven't got that in Edu and his team, whoever behind the scenes are as well, along with Edu. They're clearly not suitable for the job. Because again, like I said earlier on, when we're at a point at the start of the season and we're not ready, we've got literally 2 squad players in the first team of 50 mil, and that's it. But we're hanging on, hoping that certain players put transfer requests in. That ain't us. That ain't us. David Dean, back in the day, David Dean, obviously with Wenger and all that, he'll go to the manager and say, right, who do you want? This is in season, fantastic. Okay, who do you want? Okay, this is the list. Don't worry, Arsenal, George, or whoever. I'll go out. I'll do the business. I'll do all the legwork. I'll get them in. You just concentrate on getting them ready for the season.
Mm.
And 9 times out of 10, he'll get them in early. Get them in done. Get a pre-season. All the players get a pre-season with the new teammates and this, that, and the other, and get time to gel or this, that, and the other, and learn manager's methods. And off we go. But as I said, one first team player. When we knew the issues we needed to address, another goalkeeper, because obviously we needed backup in case then they got injured or whatever. Right, but a first choice right back, a proper right back who could defend, for fuck's sake. 2 central midfielders, not one. We've got the squad player one. We need a first teamer to go alongside, like a Basuma or something like that. We need a Saturday. We didn't have another Cam to go alongside Fro, so he's not all put on him for the rest of the season. The 40-odd games we've got left. We needed strikers that can score and think, but we're not addressing any of it. We're just leaving it to we're dragging it and leaving it to the last minute.
Mm.
The key areas we needed to address, we haven't. The one area we didn't really need to address was the centre back. I mean, what were we going to do? Spend 50 million on it, and that's it.
We could have done without Ben White. Let's be honest. With Gabby and Holding, Mari, Chambers. We could have got through with that to a degree.
Yeah.
And spend that money. But we've got him now, so now he's going to play every week, isn't he? So
yeah.
And he's got to be able to head the ball, and he's going to be taking on quite tall strikers, isn't he, from various clubs. So
especially this week.
And you say about having the policy of getting players in. We need the same policy in getting players out, don't we?
Yeah.
We need as much energy getting rid of the Kolasinac, Torreira, Xhaka, El Neni. The list goes on. It's getting longer, isn't it? Really.
Day by day.
Day by day. Nelson, if he's going to be in, is he going to be out? We've got obviously moved Willock on because he was right age and he scored a few goals for Newcastle, and they paid the money. So great, But the others, it looks like we're going to be paying them to leave. Well, let's pay them and leave them. Let's move them on. At least we know where we stand. But it's the process, whatever that process is, it doesn't seem to be working. Not for me anyway.
Well, that's the thing. What is the process? Because they just say trust the process, but what is the process? Because we have in 18 or over 18 months, we've not seen what that is. From what they've done, we're not actually seeing a positive process that's working, taking us into a better direction. It's taking us backwards. Whatever this process is, it took us backwards, even beyond what things are going under Unai Emery.
We struggled to score last season. We struggled to defend. We still struggle to defend, and we still can't score goals. So we've not done anything to address that really. When we get the ball at the back now, and Leno is dilly-dallying about who he's going to pass it to, and he's going to pass it to somebody who's under pressure. And another day we'd have had 2 goals scored from playing around at the back.
Yeah.
And that's just ongoing, isn't it? That's just how we are. That's where we are.
Yeah. I'm sorry, as I said, I keep saying repeat myself, but I'm scared. As an Arsenal, I'm scared after one game how the season's going to end out. And
9 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we've got 9 months. The manager probably hasn't got 9 months.
Well, this is the next question I was going to say. How long does this, after what happened last night? Obviously, if we were, got to say if, and try and be somewhat optimistic here. If it was the worst thing was to happen, obviously we don't win next week and the following week against Man City for the international break. We go into the international break, 9 points out of 9 and all. How long does this not just the owner, but the club itself allow this to drag out before it gets too out of hand and they have to bite the bullet anyway?
I don't think it'll be long. I don't think we can afford to be in the bottom half of the table going into, back end of the year. If we've got, if we want to get top 6, which is what we've, all said, I mean, we're not looking like top 8. You know, so unless something changes, I mean, obviously we're assuming the next couple of weeks there are going to be one or two players coming in, possibly a couple of players going out. We assume, and then the next 5 or 6 games, I think, will be key. If we're not in a positive position after those 5 or 6 games, and all the transfer business has been done, then you can only move the manager on, can't you?
I mean, Rohan, do you agree with that, or do you think it'll get a bit longer than that with this board?
No,
Owner,
I think they'd wait till the November international break because, like we have a game after Chelsea against West Brom in the cup, so I'm hoping we'll win that, and there will be some respite for Arteta. And expecting us to lose the Chelsea and Man City, then we have a good set of fixtures coming in September and October. So if he's not going to do well against the fixtures that we should be beating, against the side we should be beating, then he'd be down by the international break of November. But I don't think they'd sack him so early in the September, because then that means that they are not following the same set that they said this is the process, we are going to follow the process, he's going to lead us, and all that shit. The main thing I don't understand is he wants to play us out of the back. It's 18 months. I don't understand what they do in training and what they get out, the shit show they get out on the play. They are always Mario shouting at Leno in like what 5 minutes or 10 minutes when he had the chance to play out the back. If he's only there, he's starting as a centre back because of his ball playing ability, and he's scared to do that. So I don't really understand what that is. If they can't play the player out from the back in the match, then why are they starting it? Like kick the ball up front, do the Burnley way, but then we don't have a striker who can get the ball. So it's the whole same. The whole team
the whole
is
thing's
like
broke. The whole thing's broke, isn't it?
Yeah. This is what I go back to. What is the process? Because there's about we play out from the back. We can't do that because obviously, as you said, certain defenders are scared of doing it because they've got a goalkeeper it's clearly not comfortable doing that, and he's still here. As you said, after over 18 months of being under Arteta, there's clearly the way that we want to go, and all that's malarkey. Why is he still here? The players get whenever. This is the thing. When we had Martinez in goal, we suddenly saw, even though it's a bit different defenders at the time, in terms of Mario was obviously out injured and all that, we were a lot more calmer and relaxed with Martinez in goal because he was more comfortable. You know, conceded 3 goals today, but in terms of playing that from the back, he was more comfortable with it. He controlled the back line like you should do as a goalkeeper forward stop. Leonard doesn't have any contributing factor at all in that side of things. So,
he's got I think it's very basic in it. As a goalkeeper, you've almost virtually got 4 people to pass to, or you pass it forward up front. So if your options are limited in terms of who can I give it to, you don't give it to one of them just because I've got to give it to somebody, so we'll give it to him, and he's under pressure. If I can't give it to one of the players that puts us in a stronger position, just get it upfield. We can't concede if it's upfield, can we?
But then, like Rohan says, we ain't got the players to hold it up there.
No, we
either.
haven't. We're not going to concede a goal either, are we? The way we're playing in the back, trying to pick out players, and it's just not happening, is it? It's just an accident waiting to happen, and. Let's get the ball further up the pitch. If we can't play out from the back, let's say, okay, we haven't got the player. We want to play out from the back, but we haven't quite got the players to do that. Okay, so what can we do? Well, let's push up. Let's play higher up the pitch. But at the moment, we just seem to be concentrating on this playing out from the back, and it ain't working. Teams have sussed us out. They're pressing the ball far more than we press them, and they just pick up the mistakes. Over and over.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a recurring factor on these podcasts. We're going to talk about this a lot. I think while Arteta is at the helm by the looks of it, because I don't see a way out for him. I don't know how he's going to turn this around. I honestly don't. As I said, as I've been saying, he's going to the season, and then obviously after last night. It was under pressure. It was going into this under pressure anyway.
Mm.
He needed a win yesterday to just take off a bit of it off him, even though it's Brentford, just to take that bit of pressure off going into next week. And because obviously, as we've said, we don't expect to win next week. We don't expect to win the week after, get away to City because of the clubs, because of where they are and where we are. We don't expect to. So you can sort of understand. But now the fact that we have us in the manner of the defeat as well, going into that international break, it is going to be an absolute bloodbath for him. People are calling for his head already, well before the season even started, and then there's more people jumping on board as of last night.
Mm.
I mean,
Well,
the thing is,
isn't it? That's only
this is
grow.
yeah, and exactly. The longer this goes on, the worse, as you said, the worse it's going to grow. And I think it's going to get to a point again, even though we all say it's been over 18 months since any of us been at the Emirates or been to an away ground, etc. It'll be like under Emery where people just didn't turn up, or under Wenger near the end of Wenger's time when people just didn't turn up to the home games and all, and it was at half empty Emirates Stadium and all that. It seems only when that happens that the club go, okay, oh shit. Because realistically, in normal times, Arteta would have been, if fans were in last season, he would have been gone in that winter period where we weren't winning because fans would have been allowed in, but obviously fans wouldn't be turning up to show their discontent. But the thing is, if he does, this is the thing now, if he was to be given, they do bite the bullet, and he was given a boot, who's out there, apart from Antonio Conte, who's out there that would actually come in with this squad of players and get something out of us to push us up the league at least?
I think you'd only get Conte if you had a prize transfer fund. He's not going to want to come in. And all the managers look at every club, don't they? They all know who you've got and how you're playing and whether or not they can,
But that's the thing.
Turn the club round, aren't they? And turn the club round, but you've got to give me 200 million. Well, we ain't got 200. Well, thanks very much.
And this is the thing. This is why we've gone for the cheap option in managers since Wenger's left. I mean, we're heavily linked with Allegri both times, and both times we've at the last minute gone for the cheaper option. And with all due respect, even though he's the experienced manager, Unai Emery. And then the second time round, again, heavily linked with Allegri. They fuck it up again, and we end up with a novice because it worked over in the States. I think this is the thing with the owners in the sense because they don't know. They acknowledge they don't know much about football itself, what we call football anyway. They know their American sports, obviously, but because they don't know, they need to hire someone that does know what and let them be in charge of, be their voice piece basically in terms of the final say, and tell them instead of what's been going on, because clearly it's not working, and clearly them having the final say, giving the seal of approval, isn't the way to go, because it might have worked at LA Rams, it might have worked at their ice hockey team that they own, but it ain't going to work. Going for this rookie managers process, if that's the process, going for a rookie manager and hope for the best, it doesn't work in the Premier League. It won't, not in this modern day football where you've got billionaires of Man City, the oligarch of Chelsea, Man United of the brand of what Man United are, Liverpool doing what they're doing, and Leicester with the owners they have, giving the shit and actually investing it and recruiting and doing everything right. We can't rely on a rookie manager, with all due respect. It was a huge risk. It scared me. I backed him though. It got to a point where I can't back him now, and I'll support him every match day. Don't get it twisted for 90 minutes, but at the end of the day, I can't. Long term, I don't see him turning this round, and I don't. But the fear is if they do bite the bullet and bin him off, I still, after the last two hirings they've made, I'm scared of who they're going to hire next.
Well, yeah, I mean, if he makes a couple of signings for the time of the transfer window and then marquee signings, that'll give him a bit of time, won't it? If he makes that, stellar signing for central midfield, we make a striker and we get the goalkeeper situation sorted. That might buy him some time. But if he doesn't, and we don't, then we're going to go with the squad that we've got. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
It might be November, it might be Christmas, but it's only a matter of time because I haven't seen any improvement in our performances in the last year, really. You know, we're still making the same mistakes at the back as we were last season. We're still not scoring goals. We're still not creating enough clear-cut chances. And, you know, we go behind. We don't have the capability to come back.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed. We've got different players playing in different positions. But overall, the performances are exactly the same. So why would we think we're going to go to Chelsea and beat Chelsea? Sorry, have Chelsea come to us and beat them, and go to City and beat them? You know, why? It's more likely we'll get, you know, it'll be 5 or 6, won't it? Potentially. You know,
Well,
that's a horrible thing to think about.
Yeah, I mean, we've got Richard from the Over and Over Again podcast from on his channel. He says it's not the new players we need. This coach takes the players backwards. Get rid now and let a proper manager come on and spend the money. I get what he's trying to say, but at the same time, we need to know in that case, like we saw with Aston Villa recently, we've got Grealish, need a bit of openness from the owners and tell us, come to these fan forums and tell us privately what exactly is your threshold for a manager salary wise. What's the most you're willing to pay for a manager salary? Because
if you want the best,
it's guesswork. This is what I'm saying.
You have to buy the best. Man City decided they wanted to get the best manager, and they're going to give him the funds. And look where they are. You know, Liverpool wanted the best manager, and they want to give him the funds. Look where they are. Yeah. Look where we are. Yeah,
and that's the thing. And you look at where Liverpool were before Klopp. They were that sort of where we were, just slightly a bit better, slightly, but sort of in that sort of mid-table, trying to come for Europa League and all that crap. Whereas, but they realised, the owners realised that doing what they were doing weren't working, so they went out and got a world-class manager, someone that everyone wanted, and they backed him from day one. They went and gave him the funds. They got the players he specifically wanted, and then from that they've grown over a space of 18 months. They were in the Champions League final. They came back a year later, won the Champions League, and a year after coming a point off of the title, winning the title.
Yeah, look at Chelsea. I mean, you know, Lampard was taking Chelsea as far as he could go. They decided he wasn't right, bring in Tuchel, and then they're going to win the Champions League.
Yeah,
they identified what they needed to take them to the next level, and that's what they got. Yeah,
and as you said, with what we were just saying there, the evidence is staring you right in the face. It's in the pudding, whatever you want to put it. That if you want to be the best and you want to compete at the highest level and beat the European top table, you've got to spend the money basically, get the best, because otherwise you ain't going to get nowhere near. You can't cheap it. You can't cheap your way to the top and all that, doing what we're doing at the moment, because it doesn't work. As I was saying before, going for Premier League doesn't allow. You can't. It's not like it was back in the when George Graham came in, and when we took the risk of Arsene Wenger and all that. It's completely different now.
But we've gone cheap on the players and we've gone cheap on the manager, so you've got a double header there, haven't you?
Yeah, that doesn't help either. Jesus Christ.
So if you'd have gone for an expensive manager and cheaper players, you'd have got more out of the players, wouldn't you? The manager would get more out of the players because he's a better manager, a better coach, a better tactician. But because we've gone inexpensive players and an inexpensive manager, that's given us, well, you know, made the situation twice as bad, really.
Yeah. Again, going in terms of players, is like you say, the manager. If you want the best, you've got to pay for the best. It's like a double header, as you said, like to go for the cheap manager and go for the cheap players. It's like, what do you think is going to happen with that? Well, you need to talk. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying from an owner, and this is why I'm always on the attack of the owners as well, because even if Stanley's not heavily involved, but he's got Josh involved, or he's got someone else, this, that, and the other. They are the owners. They are allowing this to happen to their business. Is a business.
Their business is still making money. So from that perspective, what happens on the pitch isn't their priority, is it? You know,
But
look on Twitter. I mean, selling shirts is their priority at the moment.
the shirts, fucking new
I mean,
kits,
all
new
that comes out of
training gear.
Arsenal media at the moment is there loads of photoshops of their latest kits. You know, no player updates, so there's no real meat. It's all about where you can buy the next shirt. You know, so
I mean,
the Cronkies are making shed loads of money out of even what we're doing now. They're making shed loads of money. So you know, that's where we are.
Well, I was on early in the season before the kits were officially announced. Like even the first kit was the away kits and what were announced. I was on another podcast, and another young about 19, 20-year-old lad literally said, because I talked about the literally we're talking about the going into the semi-final. We're talking about the protest and when I was all for it. We need to make our voices. If we don't do it now, it's never going to happen. They ain't going to buckle. Basically, you need to up the ante and show them that one protest wasn't a one-off. We're all serious about this. Oh, but semi-final's not the right time. And I said, well, if you're not going to, for people that go into that, because I mean, people were looking at tweeting about the new kits and this, that, and the other. I can't wait for it to come out and give them their money, this, that, and the other. You're defeating the object. Anyone goes to the protest and then goes, and this particular person did go to the protest. Anyone's going to the protest and going, oh, Cronky out, burning refugees and this, that, and the other, stand, but then going straight into the club store, either physically or online, and buying the brand new home away in a third shirt, you're defeating the object of what you're trying to set out. But if it looks nice and looks wavy, I'm going to spend. Like, well, you're defeating the object then. You're completely, because you're literally putting money in his pocket and he's laughing at you because in his head you're an absolute moron, basically. But he doesn't care because you put money in his pocket. He could spend elsewhere.
They're selling millions of shirts worldwide.
Yeah.
And not selling 60,000 shirts to the Arsenal fans ain't going to make a lot of difference.
Oh no! But I'm just saying in general. I was speaking in more general. Yeah.
You know, you've got the protest, but pretty much everyone to a man's wearing an Arsenal shirt. You know, don't wear the shirt.
Exactly.
You want to make a statement. Don't wear the merchandise. Don't buy the merchandise at all. But as you say, they'll still go and buy the latest home kit because that's what fans do.
That's what we're lying. What was it? The 20? Was it like 15, 20 fucking training kits going out last season alone? Every time something went bad, oh look, this brand new shiny merchandise. Ooh, come on, guys. It's okay. It's 100 quid, but that's okay. Come on, bring it in.
I mean, how many Twitter followers has Arsenal got now? I mean, it's millions, isn't it?
Millions. It's absolute millions.
Yeah. So worldwide, you know, that's what they look at. You know, we're a speck in terms of what they sell in the Far East and Asia, and you know, places like that.
Went in the chat saying the clubs has received a sponsorship money. They signed a deal. Yeah, there's that. But in terms of actual players as well, I mean, it's saying something going back to the Euros. What was it? Leno was the third choice goalkeeper for Germany. Xhaka, Tierney, and Saka were the only representatives of Arsenal Football Club in the entire Euros. That's scary. That's to be screaming for all the European players we have in our books. That it was only them representing their countries via Arsenal and all that crap. But we've used to pretty much the whole squad being internationals for the Euros and the World Cups and this, that, and the other.
We used to have the problem of losing half the team for the African Nations League, didn't we?
African Cup of Nations, yeah, as well, with Kyle Toure and all that.
Don't worry about that now, do we? Because, as you say, we haven't got that many international players that we lose them.
If the country has qualified, they're not going to even get picked. Let's be honest.
No, exactly, yeah. So, sad times. Any positive news, guys, or is it all going to be, you know?
I don't know. What positive?
Prepare the rope in a minute and just hang myself to the ceiling.
I don't know what positive. So what positives can we take at the moment? Trust me, Steve. I tried looking for positives all day. I don't know where to find them. Looked high and low. I think the only positive is I don't know.
Next match is in 7 days.
Yeah,
that's true.
Crowds are back. That's got to be a positive, isn't it?
Yeah, crowds are back, fans are back. That was refreshing to see after God knows how long. Jesus Christ, at full capacity as well. I've noticed it today actually. Touching on the crowds actually. But Premier League is obviously full capacity. All the Premier League crowds can have their full capacity. This, that, and the other. Championship and lower, they've got like a set capacity. They're not fully not full for some reason. I was like, tell me how is it fair how does that work out? But hey, money talks to Premier League.
Money talks.
Of course, but
going back to the Kroenke, though, I think the only thing that would affect the Kroenke's pocket is if, by some horror, we get relegated.
Of course.
Premiership. Could you just imagine that?
Oh.
You know, then they might actually think, "Oh shit, we better do something about this."
I'll get Ted Lasso in.
Well, yeah, we're too good to go down.
Don't start. I heard that all last year as well when we went for that month and a half not winning games and all that. Well, Arsenal, we're too good. If you do realise one of the teams that's just been promoted is one of the biggest clubs in the country who spent 16 years out of the Premier League previously. Nottingham Forest are former European champions. They're not even in their championship for the last how many years? They haven't played Premier League football this century. Aston Villa, where they were at one point.
Yeah. Time to change.
Yeah, no club's too big to go down. Chelsea got relegated back in the 80s and early 90s, didn't they? So, Man City.
Now we've got new fans now that haven't actually seen us win the league.
Yeah, sadly, and that's another scary thing that literally because they haven't seen it, they're not seeing the club for what we see it.
Yeah,
because we've witnessed.
You watch the YouTube videos that people put on the clips of the Henrys and the Longbirds and the Perez's and bombing forward and beating player after player and scoring wonderful goals. That was our football every week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was what we were watching every week, and everybody wanted to play like Arsenal. Everybody said, "Oh, we wish we could play like Arsenal." And people were scared of us back then.
Yeah.
Now, it's don't have to worry about them. They'll just pass it around in the back. We'll nick it and score a couple, and don't worry about it.
Yeah. Oh dear. I mean, what was it? Well, I'm trying to think now. About 5.5, 6 years ago, I was doing jury service on the way into where I had to go. Literally, there's about year 7, year 8 kids talking about Arsenal and all that. I'm literally at the back of the bus. So they're like 3, 4 ahead of me, rows ahead. And they're talking about, a couple of them were clearly Arsenal fans, but they're like, I don't get why most of the fans are against Arsene Wenger. We're getting top 4 and all that. I'm like, I'm getting my head out. No. You don't understand. Literally, you haven't, because you said they haven't witnessed us, the club they support, winning a league title, competing at the highest table in Europe, in the sense of getting to the final of the Champions League and winning cup doubles and the European Cup Winners' Cup and things like that. Because they haven't witnessed that, they don't understand why the older our generations was so hell bent on not going backwards, basically under Wenger, because things were going backwards, not this drastically, don't get it twisted, but they were. And we voiced our opinion, and they were like, "Oh no, what? He's doing a fantastic job." And at the time, clearly he was, because since then we got nowhere near. The closest we got to top 4 was Emery's first season. That's not missed that by a point.
My fear is we'll never see that again, because we're so far from where we were. How do we ever get back to that level? Assuming the teams around us invest the rate they're still investing. How do we catch up, and how do we go past them?
Yeah.
From where we are, we're going in one direction, they're going in the other direction, unfortunately.
Yeah, sadly, yeah. And then with that, because of how successful they are, the next generation of fans coming through aren't going to want to support an Arsenal kit or go and see an Arsenal game. They're going to want to go and see the Man Cities, the Chelseas, the Uniteds, and all that. They would prefer to go see them, even like down the road. In the last 4 or 5 years, the younger generation I've seen, friends from school, their kids clamour to get a Tottenham shirt and things like that.
Well, look at West Ham. I mean, West Ham, there's a major investment coming into West Ham now, isn't there? There's a consortium that want to take over the City Stadium and turn it into a proper West Ham stadium. millions and millions and millions of pounds going into that club potentially. So where does that put them in the hierarchy? They've already finished above us.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. Jesus Christ. Oh God, it's gonna be a long season, isn't it? But Winston again pops up and says we need owners with ambition. And this is the thing. We don't. They say they've got the ambition, but they're not showing it. If that makes sense, in the sense of what we're seeing going on behind the club, behind the scenes with the board and who they hire and the players, the recruitment. And there's things that are clearly wrong. They don't address. They addressed it, and things started turning for the positive. You could say, okay, yeah, you know what, we were wrong. You clearly do have what's the best interest of the club, but we're not seeing that. And this is where you like to Daniel Ware. Can people like him come along and try and buy the club? People like themselves get a bit excited and thinking, we might have someone that actually gives a shit and might actually do. Because it's not all about having an owner that just spends money willy-nilly like a Roman Abramovich. It's caring and having and doing the right things by the club and hiring the right people. And if things ain't going right, addressing it straight away. Don't let it get spiral over 4 or 5 years to beyond fixing, basically.
I mean, you don't want to be like Chelsea, where you're sacking the manager every season. But
No.
You see you can see the ambition that Abramovich has got.
Yeah,
he wants his club to be the best club, and he'll do whatever it takes to make his club the best. If it means players, if it means I've given you 2 seasons, you're not doing the business, right? Who can we get next? You know, that's his mentality. But he's at every game. You know, he supports the club.
Yeah. When was the last game?
That's what you want to see, isn't it?
In terms of when fans were all allowed in the stadium, when was the last time Stanley was at a game?
Oh yeah, exactly.
By the FA Cup finals. Even then, he doesn't come to them anymore. The last game, I think, I might be wrong, but the last game I believe he was at was Wenger's last game, a home game, sorry. And again, whoever's in charge that day of the visuals on the big screens in the stadium are idiots, because they put they must know there's a divide between the Arsenal fans and Stan, that they don't. Most of our fan base don't like him, and they go and put him on while Wenger's talking. They put Stan Kroenke sitting in the old bald devil on the big screen, and you start hearing boos ringing out while Wenger's talking. I'm like, of all times to do it, that weren't the time to do it, and why do it in the first place? Knowing the fans aren't on his side as it was, even then. But we're not seeing.
Early doors, he came out with his statement, didn't he? I didn't buy Arsenal to win trophies.
Yeah,
that just says it all, really.
And when obviously, and then again, before he became the full owner, and forced all the shares to be owned by himself. In the AGM meetings, he'd fly over from the States and wouldn't say a word in the AGM. So he'd just sit there with a scowl on his face like he didn't want to be there, and tell the likes of Sir Chips to speak on his behalf and referring back to the Evening Standard and things, or the Independent articles and this, that, and the other that you'd have to pay for to go online to read it. But like you said, that infamous quote, "I didn't buy Arsenal to win trophies." So why the hell did you buy us then? Oh, what? Because we were Arsenal back then.
We're a cash cow, aren't we? We're a business.
Yeah.
He's a businessman. We're a business.
Yeah.
He sees the balance sheet. We don't see the balance sheet, but I reckon it looks pretty good from the business.
Better than what they're actually putting out there publicly. Put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So he doesn't want to sell. Why would you sell if you don't need the money and you're a successful businessman? Why would you sell it? Wouldn't make sense, would it? Really, it doesn't really matter what the fans do or protest. He doesn't go to the games, so he probably doesn't see it all anyway.
Yeah, well, again, Vince has popped up saying Stan will never go to the Emirates again. It's Josh's new toy now. Yeah, that's a thing that Stan's doing, actually. He's sort of passing on sort of certain franchises over to his... The only investment he's really interested in now is in Vans. All the others he's sort of palming off to his son. Where one of them was that... I mean...
And he plays with it for like a little while. The fan's going to be unhappy for a while. He's going to come in at the forum. He's going to say, be excited. The fans will be excited for a while, and then it's going to be the same thing. We aren't going to progress under this owner, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean...
With the COVID, I don't think there's a market where someone comes in and buys the full whatever the amount Case are looking at. Daniel wanted to, but I don't think he has that much amount available, or even if he has the collaboration with some banks or stuff, you won't be able to buy it at this time. We'd have to like wait, I'd say 2-3 years till this whole COVID market changes. Till then, it's the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, it's got a point, but I think Daniel's also at the same time sort of trying to play hardball because he knows the situation between the fan base and the current owner. He knows that situation. He's recruited 3 Arsenal, Vieira, even though he's at Palace now. Vieira, Henry, and Bergkamp part of his consortium. So clearly he knows the divide between the fan base and the owner. And he knows the longer he said, I'm in it for the long haul. I'll try to get along. I don't care how long it takes. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Obviously, he's put a second bid of what, just over 2 billion. Obviously, Stan wants sort of, I think the Conquerors are only entertain any offers in around 2.5 to 3 billion. But even at that time, it's like the longer this stuff goes on, the stock of the club will drop possibly. And the value of the club will drop, and then suddenly he'll be forced into accepting less of what he's been offered at the moment. So Daniel isn't exactly breaking his neck. If it was a different position, we've been successful and all that, then you could more likely he'd have, if he really wanted to buy the club, he'd have to break his neck basically.
Perhaps this is the process. Perhaps there is a consortium that are encouraging the club to play badly, get relegated. They can pick us up for a song and then invest the money to get us back. Maybe that's part of the master plan. I don't know.
And then take us back to the top, the glory days.
It's got suddenly, we're investing 200-300 million pound on players in the Championship.
Oh God, Jesus Christ!
You just imagine it. It was all part of the plan.
Oh dear! Then we all wake up.
Then we all wake up and we see we're just lost against Wolves or something. Yeah, but
yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah. We've got Max. That's the fan in the chat. Obviously, he won the 1-0 earlier, so he's happy. Obviously, Madison's injured as well, so I don't know how bad that is, but yeah. It's just hi, Van. I'm confused why Xhaka was captain for Hughes last night. That was what was Arteta thinking? Tierney should have been captain. I'm a clear. You guys know I'm a clear advocate of Tierney being the captain, but. Apparently, I know nothing according to the Arsenal Football Club, or people like me know nothing. Apparently, Granit's got this great leadership quality at Arsenal in the background that we don't see.
He was on his way. He was a couple of million away from leaving, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So Tierney's in. He shows passion.
He's committed, and he's committed. He's committed recently a long-term contract. So yeah, he's the one more committed.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd have given give it to Smith Rowe. At least he's playing with the passion. He wants to be a legend of the club. Well,
Granit.
It's the Xhaka next week. If Rome has suddenly come back with an increased offer next week for Xhaka, he'd be off, wouldn't he?
Yeah. And this is the thing. Xhaka, even during and after the Euros, has been twerking his arse off on social media. Going to Roma, twerking for Roma, twerking for Jose Mourinho, communicating back and forward. Suddenly, there's the armband.
Yeah,
I mean, you talk about again. Here's the new contract. Here's a little bit of a pay rise as well. Like you talk about non-negotiables, and then you do that. It's like what is the? Because you're rewarding that. You reward Willian for breaking COVID rules back in December last year, going to fucking Dubai to meet the salt bait guy or whatever. But then you're punishing Aubameyang for being late for match day in North London Derby, and then whatever's gone off yesterday in the last knockings of just in the morning training and whatever, the warm ups for the game between Lacazette and Aubameyang. And then what was it? Pepper, you threw under the bus last year after the Leeds game away. We drew 0-0. You threw him under the bus. But when Granit does the exact same thing the week later. Oh no, it's okay, no problem. You're causing the divide. He's clearly doing things like that. Causes divides within the club itself, within the squad itself. Think something he's meant to get eradicated in the first place and bring us all together. I mean, we've seen again. I'm not the biggest Southgate fan, but even though, again, it's international football, but he brought these players together, and there was no egos, as we saw, and they performed as one. They came together as one. There's no divides, there's no favouritism. And they all got, and look, we almost won a European Championship, and obviously what happened, but still. But we don't get that.
No, but the problem with Xhaka is he's got himself into a situation because they've done nothing. He's stuck with playing him, isn't he? What's the alternative to playing Xhaka? On any? So
at the moment, because the Partey's injured,
because Partey's injured. There's no backup. There's no movement on bringing a really good central midfield player. So you're stuck with Xhaka, aren't you?
Yeah, and again, Max comes back and says the club seems to have forgiven him for telling the fans to F off. that was the polite version of what he basically did that day. Let's not forget he took the armband off and chucked it to the floor like it was nothing. And then as he's walking off down the tunnel, took his shirt off and threw it to the floor. Disrespected the club's shirt. And then literally was forced to make a apology, which was basically a statement, but it wasn't even an apology. It was basically him justifying. If you read it, because I've got the programme, it was just him trying to justify his actions for that night. Because all the build-up with all the social media abuse and all that was, again, don't condone. But it was just basically him saying, with that happening, it was all build-up, and I just went, boom, basically. And that's that. We deal with it and we'll move on. But even then, with all that going off, he was on the verge of going to, what was it? He was on the verge of going to Hertha Berlin back there for 40 mil. Last minute, we pulled the plug on that. And again, that's a concerning thing for me. Under this regime, what we want to fucking call it, two times we've had the chance to get rid of someone like Granit Xhaka, and at last minute we changed our mind. And now this time we've rewarded him. The guy has literally twerked his backside off all summer to Roma and Mourinho. And now we go, we don't want to say we now, actually. And then, by the way, here's the armband, here's the new contract, here's a bit of a bunch as well. It's completely, but it's like it said, because they're not, it sends out the wrong message. But because then, as you say, because they're not being aggressive in the transfer market and going out and looking for a proper replacement, a better player in that position to go alongside Partey or Lokanga, we're stuck with him.
Yeah, because now Partey's injured. It's a no-brainer. You have to play him. But I mean, I'm probably old school. If a player decides he wants to leave the club for whatever reason, and the club says, "Okay, right, fine, that's fine," then he doesn't play.
Yeah.
And I want to fill the team with players that actually want to be here, want to play for the badge.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to play, if you don't want to be here for whatever reason, that's fine. But you ain't going to be playing.
And again, I go back to it. I go back to it with George Graham. The second he walked through the door, he said, "Oh, this is the way I'm going to do. Then I'll give you a bit of chump. But at the same time, if you don't want to be here when we go through this new change, come to me and I'll help you out the door."
Absolutely, yeah. But don't bring him back in and make him captain.
No. Exactly. And again,
what message does that play to Kenny? Well, great player, Tierney. You're fantastic, young, going forward.
You're committed as well, but fuck off, basically.
We're not going to give you the armband because what? Doesn't send a message to him, does it? Really?
No. Exactly, and it's again, it's another bullet to the chest, basically, in terms of the fan base find a bullet to Arteta, because he's again, like you say, he's sending the wrong message to the players that are committed. I mean, they're thinking, well, hang on. As you said, they'll be like, well, hang on. I'm committed. I'm showing my commitment and signing long-term contracts and showing I want to be here. This guy doesn't want to be here, clearly, like others, and they're getting better basic rewards and faith shown in them than I am. So why the hell should I actually play for you?
I'd have rather kept Willock, because he, as a young player, he's come through the academy. He wants to play for the club, and he's thinking, well, they'd rather keep Jack now. So I might as well go, mightn't I?
Yeah. And like Russ said last night, literally, the only midfielder we have that can score goals from midfield, and we send him for 25 to Newcastle, like that. Just so he sort of picks up a bit of form.
Last season. It was our top scoring midfielder last season.
Exactly. Jesus Christ.
El Neni would be right up there in the league.
Overall, El Neni scored a few, yeah. Xhaka scored one, I think. That was a free kick against Chelsea.
So we're struggling.
Yeah,
Right to see.
clear as day.
Whereas used to be, we could say, well, it was this player, it was that player,
Yeah, we could say Gilberto Silva, Parra, Vieira,
all these
Edu,
players.
even Edu scored goals as well. The odd goals here and there.
So you could reel them off, couldn't you? This last season, you just think, well, was it El Neni? Was it Xhaka? It's terrible, isn't it? Terrible.
Exactly, Perez, Lundberg, you name it. Even the backups, or even you could throw them into the equation as well. But probably that things like Russ has put in the chat as well. Roman sacked a club legend in Lampard. We are stuck with a player who was good, but nowhere near a legend for us. Again, that's showing for us as a fan because they're not being open with us in any other way. We have to judge it from what we see, and what we're seeing is the owner's standards aren't nowhere near where they need to be compared to, as you said, Roman Abramovich there. The ruthlessness is not from day one. The fact, and as you said, a club legend like Lampard that the fans loved, he was happy to just go, bye, not working, okay, but good, thank you, but it's not work, bye bye, sort of thing, and gone on, got Churchill, gone on, and the instant reward for it was a Champions League, the second in their history.
And now they're going to challenge for the title this season, aren't they? Paul Lukaku.
Yeah.
So they'll go forward from there. So that's their starting point.
We're here.
Champions League and spending 150 million on a couple of players, Chalobah and Lukaku. We didn't win the Champions League, and who have we bought? Ben White.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
Exactly. Hands in our pockets.
Somebody's still probably going to buy Harry Kane. Somebody's probably that will probably come together on it, and it'll either be City or United on it. Probably.
Yeah.
So again, again,
no,
they're going to move further away.
Yeah, and here we, as you said, here we are, hands in our pockets, sitting on our backsides, hoping for the best, watching the world go by.
Who can we get?
Oh, does that player actually want to come to us? We're going to wait all summer and see if he wants to stay at Madrid or come to us. Again, what? Again, the whole non-negotiables, and going to Ian Wright in that video saying, if you have to convince you or you have to think about it, we don't want you. That doesn't do right by me. This, that, and the other. You have to be committed from the door. If we make contact and you say, yeah, I'm 100% committed, fantastic. Odegaard is again. He's literally using us as a sort of temptation. Look, guys, look. This club wants me. If you don't want to play me, look, I can go here.
What did Tony Adams say? Tony Adams said, "I'll just sign it. On any contract that's put in front of me, I'll sign it. Don't read it."
Yeah.
He'd have played for nothing, wouldn't he?
He literally.
I want to play for the shirt. That's it.
Yeah.
And you can see that in Smith Rowe to a degree, but obviously the money side of it. But if you've got to convince a player to come, well, I'm not sure. Well, I want to see what. Thanks. No thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, we're hanging on for dear life to see if you want to put a transfer.
To be honest, Odegaard, was he that great? He was all right, but was he?
He was all right. He wasn't fantastic, but he was all right.
But he wasn't. He didn't put you back in yourself and make you stand up and think, Jesus, this is a great player. So there you go. Oh
dear, but we think the last one we've got Leo in the chat saying 72 million for Pepe, 50 million for White, 52 million for Lacazette, 56 for Aubameyang. Are some of the signs, our biggest signings in our club's history, by the way. In the past few seasons, that's more than 200 mil on 4 players alone. The club is nowhere near what they should be on the pitch yet. But again, we could go back to it over and over again in this podcast and other podcasts going forward and backwards. Recruitment, having the people in place in the recruitment scheme to recruit properly. Clearly, that's been even before Edu, that was a massive flaw in the system, basically, amongst other things. And it's getting worse and worse. Even with Edu at the helm, it's getting worse. And as long as Stan and Josh sit in their hands hoping for the best and don't actually act like owners and with ambition, it's only going to get worse, sadly. And hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully they do sort of wake up and it sort of a light goes off in their head and go, actually, no, this ain't how Premier League club is meant to be run. We actually have to do things and invest and hire these people here, there, and everywhere. I mean, Another thing that sort of I keep going over it and over again before we wrap things up. One thing that would actually get the fans back on board and sort of think, okay, not just addressing the things we've mentioned tonight, but the likes of Vinay. Why is he on the board? What does he bring to the club? Let's be honest. Get out him. He can't be a face of the board, basically. If he wants to be on the board, fantastic, but not be a face of the board. He goes in the back burner, brings someone in, an Arsenal man, someone the fans can sort of not just relate to, that they can go, yeah, he reminds us of our glory days, and he cares. I know for a fact he'll do what he can. He cares for the club. He won't be corrupt. He'll do everything he can for the best of the club because it's in his DNA. For example, Tony Adams or David O'Leary or Mark Overmars, sort of director of football and things like that. It's them things as well that help get the fans back on board, along with addressing the main key areas of what we addressed tonight. But again, do I trust the owners to do that at the moment? It's moment in time. I'm seeing nothing to convince me, which is a sad scheme of things. But we are going about things up. Otherwise, we're going to see 3 pieces of rope appearing very soon. Oh dear! Like last night, this podcast is brought to you by the Samaritans.
Hopefully next week we'll be more cheerful.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully being the operative word.
There'll be a stellar signing and a couple of players will have gone out next time we talk. And it'll all be
positive. Out of nowhere as well. Suddenly, out of nowhere, as you said, certain players go out and it's the marquee signing is made and it's like, oh, everyone's excited for the game on Sunday. Way we actually win a game. What fucking hell.
Yeah,
we all come back.
Turns out to be Navri.
Oh God! The irony. You know what? I wouldn't bet against it. Let's be honest.
Yeah. It was mentioned today. Apparently, a couple of players have been looked at for exchanges. I don't know.
Oh my days! Yeah, another winger. Yay! But no, what he proved. The thing is, the difference is he's actually proved himself at a big club. So I wouldn't complain.
No, absolutely.
Oh dear.
All right, guys.
All right, so yeah, we best start wrapping things up. Rohan, where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, on Twitter @09Rohan.
Yeah, and Steve, what about yourself?
Yeah, on Twitter, Steve1886. Just trying to keep it real if I can.
As much as we can about going to.
I think I'm learning not to tweet just after a game. I think that's one key.
Yeah, that's the thing I do. Even during games, I'm literally even at games or watching games at home, and literally phone to one side or in the pocket, whatever. And I just don't go on my phone. Even afterwards, win or lose, I don't go on it. I just stay away because otherwise, no matter what, it's gonna kick off.
Yeah, it kicks off.
Oh dear, because there's idiots out there anyway. But it is what it is. Yeah, if you want to find me on Twitter, all my socials are going across the screen. The audio for this will be up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all that in the next half hour once I've downloaded the audio side of it. If you want to go and check that out, that'd be fantastic. In terms of the next podcast of us three, and hopefully Rico, hopefully. I'm trying to think now. Playing on Sunday, so probably Friday night. I'm going to go away now, sort the dates out for the rest of the month, for the rest of the next couple of games, basically, the rest of the month. And so we'll sort that out. Once we know that, I'll put the dates up on the community chat back for you guys to take note of. And then, obviously the podcast after the Chelsea game will be on Monday night, probably, if we're all available or not. But yeah, in terms of that, and apart from that, we've got to do. I'll be doing, as I said, a watch along on or midweek when Bayern Munich play Dortmund in the German Super Cup. It's on Sky, so I may as well. Let's watch some football with you guys that might actually enjoy. That don't get stressed about. The irony. Exactly. Jesus Christ. And people wonder why I do neutral watch songs, but it is what it is. If you're new to the channel, you want to subscribe, do smash the like button and share the content around. And until then, guys, as always, up the Arsenal. Come on, you Gunners.
Come on, you Gunners. See you later.